Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Axel Flores, and I am going to be your presenter for today. Today, we're going to talk about TRIRIGA Advanced Reporting. We're going to talk about what this is, what are the benefits, how it functions, and by the end, hopefully, you'll see what I see in this and all its wonders. Let's get started. So first things first, we're going to do a little agenda, right? We're going to talk about an overview of the TRIRIGA product, so just everything TRIRIGA, as well as where this fits in, where the event reporting fits in. And then we're going to talk about the benefits, the purpose of this. And then I'm actually going to show you some of these interactions and how this add-on works. And then at the end, we're going to wrap up, summarize what we went through and everything else that needs to be covered then. Alrighty, let's jump in. So this is you may not be familiar with this. This is the expanded TRIRIGA application suite. So this is everything TRIRIGA. So at the top, you're going to see the 5 applications of the real estate, so like lease management, then capital projects management, so project program management. Then we have the operations and maintenance, space management, and then TRIRIGA Trees, which is the environmental and sustainability application. Then at the bottom below that, you're going to see the 2 add-ons, the current add-ons, which is the Assistant and the TRIRIGA Building Insights. And then TRIRIGA Advanced Reporting fits in right here where you see the little star in the middle. And something to note here is that TRIRIGA Advanced Reporting applies to all of the applications. It's not just one. You could use it for one. For example, if you just want to use it for TRIRIGA Capital Project Management, you can just use the advanced reporting for that. But you could also intertwine the reporting between 2 applications. For example, since I already talked about capital projects, let's say a assembly line and capital projects is down, naturally operations and maintenance would want to know this and want to go in to take a look at it, right? So what advanced reporting can do is use the data to coordinate what machines need to get a repair, maybe an update, as well as areas in the facility to avoid based on previous interactions with the line or the machine. So that's just one example that you can use to intertwine these different applications. So it applies to more than one. It can. Moving on. In the past, we have heard, challenges with the base TRIRIGA reporting. For example, like the lack of configuration. And as well, in my time in TRIRIGA, I've seen that a lot of our clients get this data from TRIRIGA and then export it to Excel or other visualization tools to get insights that they're not getting through TRIRIGA, which seems kind of counterintuitive when you're getting this great data from TRIRIGA and not being able to use it. So those are some of the challenges, and we've heard you, and this is why we created advanced reporting. This is where it comes in. So advanced reporting, you're gonna see it's a little bit of the dashboard here on the right, which I'm gonna show you later. Advanced reporting is a very intuitive tool. It's very visually appealing. You can configure how you want. There's a lot of colors that you can incorporate, a lot simpler to read, to see. And I want to hone in on this, how straightforward it is to use. You're going to see me interact with this later in the demonstration, but it's very easy to use. It's very understandable in what needs to happen and how you want to use it. It's also very compatible with all browsers, right? So it fits in almost anywhere. And then moving on, the other key feature, right, of this new add-on is the self-service reporting. Like I said in the last slide, is a lot more visually appealing. You can see a lot of these, data and reports, the graphs, in a easier manner, and you can configure any reporting or any add-ons the way you like it. Which I really want to talk about the self-service aspect of the reporting. Before you had to, if you wanted to add a column or maybe change something in a report, you had to call an administrator for them to change it, and you have to wait a little bit until they do that. But now, we can say that you have a time-sensitive change that you need to make to a report. Instead of waiting on an administrator to do that problem for you, you can actually go in and do it yourself very easy, and you can go about your day focusing on more important tasks. With that said, let's actually go into this advanced reporting. I apologize for the rapid. Oh, here we go. Just wanted to do one more. And this looks like a lot. We're going to break it down. So we're going to split this demo into two parts. The first part is going to be what you're seeing here now, which is our executive profile. This is for an end user that might not necessarily create any reports or graphs. It's more about the interaction on this data, right? So what can they get out of it instead of just like manipulating the reports and graphs? So the first thing that you're seeing here is the homepage. This is the homepage, right? This is when you log in, this is the first thing you see. And the first thing to note here, that there's a lot of different graphs, a lot of different figures that you can configure within the dashboard, and you can change it how you want it. For example, if you want to see the buildings by tenure before the building utilization, you can move it. You can do that. You can see the colors here, the different colors. And here at the top, you can actually merge your notifications into the top. And if you want more information on them, you can just click right here or here, and then a pop-up will come in for more information on it. Just to explain some of the new features, right? Let's go into the spaces by type graph. So the first thing to note here, there is a lot of information in this graph. Let's try to break it down a little bit, right? We're only, for the sake, let's say our executive person right now only wants to look at the Charlotte Student Center, which is this big one right here. What you could do is you can click and drag, and it actually hones in into the specific section that you want to look at. For example, for us, it's Charlotte Student Center. And then here, you can hover on the specific bar and it highlights each section with each data points. And let's say we want to focus on the food service of the Charlotte Student Center. You're going to click it, and at the bottom, it will show you all the data points associated with that section here. And something to note here, if you want to filter it out, this section right here, you can click it here and you see all the different types of filtering if you want to add that. And then as well, you can manipulate the way you see the data. So you can, for example, if you want to see the space type before the space name, you can actually click here and then drag it to move it to what you want to see first, left to right. Let's go back on top here. Let's reset the zoom for a bit. And then here, like I said, there's a lot of different colors, a lot of different sections that you want to look into for this. And then in the legends, let's say you don't necessarily need to look at the corridor aspect of these buildings. You could click on the legend here on corridor and it hides it for the time being, and it expands all the different data points. So you can closely look at what you want to look at. And then if you want to put it back, if you want to reset it, just click it back and then it comes back. And then here you can download this graph. Here you can refresh it. So if new data points or a new data set comes in, you can click the refresh and it adds it in automatically. Really cool stuff, really simple. And then here is the filters. Let's try to add a filter. It's actually very easy to add a filter. Just click new filter. You could do all these different sorts of things. For this example, since I said Charlotte, let's say we only want to look at buildings in Charlotte. So click on building, filter type, let's say contains Charlotte. Here we go. Apply, and voila. You're only seeing Charlotte specific buildings and all its sections. And then you can use all the things that I said previously. And then here, if you don't need that filter anymore, just click here, the trash can, the delete filter, apply, it comes back. And you're seeing it now on the home page. And let's say you want to see it by itself. You just want to focus on this graph. This is where this right here, the maximize button comes in. This just brings it a pop-up with just this graph. So that's really cool. And then this is a way that, these tools are to help you for someone that doesn't necessarily create it. They just want to interact with the data and get some insights from it. You can do all sorts of actions in order to get that data that you need. And then here on the side, you're going to see all the different types of tabs. And then this is just for whatever application that you're using. Let's say that you're using the space reservation, or let's say you're using like maintenance. You can click here and access all that information through there. That depends on the applications that you're using, right? And then here, let me go to another account. So I said at the beginning, we're going to go into two parts. This was the first part, more about the interaction, just to get insights from it in a high level view. And now we're going to go into someone that would be creating these reports, manipulating reports, figures, right? So for the sake of this, we're going to go into a lot of leases, which for this presentation is she's a lease administrator, and I can show you some of the things that work around there. Let me just put in the password. I'm so invested in this presentation. Oh, see? There we go. There we go. So first thing to note here is the homepage. This is the first thing that you see when you logged in. It looks, you might say that looks familiar to the homepage of the executive, and it is, right? We want to maintain consistency within the application and the add-on. So here, I already talked about the reminders, right? If you want more information, you can click on it. You can add whatever charge figures you want in it. That's really cool, right? And then here, something to note too, not only can you put reminders or graphs and figures, you could actually put like quick links into different reports or other areas of this platform. For example, she is a lot of leases is a lease administrator, so she's very focused on all things leases and all things about the payment, the financials. So she has quick links on this side to help her keep track of things, as well as this reminders tab of just keeping up with dates and all that good stuff. And then, as I said in the PowerPoint, not only are we going to talk about just the interface, we're also going to talk about the self-service reporting. So I'm going to click here. You may be familiar with this, right? This is the current reporting. This is the base reporting of TRIRIGA right now. You can see there's a lot of data in here. A very one color, not that visually appealing, right? But compare that to the new reports dashboard. And here you can see it's clearly sectioned off, putting the information that you need first, not necessarily just every information. Let's break this down. So at the top, you're gonna see the favorites tab. So the favorites tab is usually probably reports or graphs or figures, right, that you use a lot or that you need to look back a lot. So for example, you have like all the active leases. That's probably not something that you're using every day, but it's important to have to keep track of it, and not necessarily, let's say when you do need it, you don't have to like scroll down and trying to find it, right? So it's right here, and then easy access to it. And then if you don't need that for whatever reason anymore, you can just click on it, remove favorites, and add whatever you actually need. And then here at the bottom, I think this is another really cool feature too, is the latest graphs and reports. So instead of pinning something all the time on the favorites, and let's say you're using it for maybe just that week, or it's just something new that came in that you're using for short term, you're probably gonna see it in this latest and graphs and reports. So instead of risking a spot in the favorites tabs, you can actually just click it here, since you're using it on the short terms, as it shows a brief history of all the latest and newest information within the platform. So I think that's really cool too. And then here, this is the graphs and the reports section. So this is just distinguishes the graphs and the reports. Both of them have similar options that you can use. So now that we're in the reports, for example, if it's shared with you, you can copy the report, or you could get the URL. But if you create it, not only can you do those, copy and then get the URL, but you could also change the share settings as well as delete it. And when I say delete, it is a soft delete. I know people are myself included, people on our team, we're human, right? We click on something by accident, we click delete by accident, but you can get that back. It's a soft delete. Don't worry about that. And then here at the top, you can search, and you could also distinguish the ones that you created as well as the ones that are shared with you. Now let's go into how someone, right, would manipulate or use these reports. Let's go into active leases. So what you're seeing here now, it's all the leases. These are all the leases in the platform. That's a lot of information. For today, our persona, a lot of leases, just wants to look at the buildings in North Carolina. She only wants to be, she's only concerned with the leases in North Carolina. So how will we go about doing that? We're gonna click here on the right columns. This is gonna be your control center for editing this report. So if she wants to look at the buildings only in North Carolina, we should probably section off this information based on a country and a state. So we can do that. So if you see the little 6 buttons here, you click on country and then put it in row groups, as well as the state, put it in row groups, and then deselect it because it's already down there. And then you'll see here on the left, it's sectioned off by the country and then the state. So we said North Carolina, so here we go. Now we're just seeing, let me click out of here for a second. We're just seeing the leases associated with North Carolina. So I think that's really cool stuff here. And then here, you could add or subtract, and here you could put a filter, if you want to put more specific information. And like I said, in the executive, you can also move it. For example, if you want to use primary use before the lease classification, you can move it. So I think it's really cool. And that's the base lease rate. And now, how do we add a column, right? We want to add more information to this report. So we're going to go here to add a column. And these are all the different types of columns that you can create. For now, let's go to number, continue. And then for a new column, let's put the scenario of, this housing market has been kind of wild as of late, kind of crazy. So a lot of leases wants to forecast next year if there was a 25% increase. So how will we go about doing that? First, let's put a name, forecast rate here. And then here we're gonna select base lease rate, since this is the factor, the component that we want to manipulate, and we're going to add as a number. And then since we want to look at an increase by 25%, so we can just do a simple multiplication by 1.25, and it shows that 25% increase. And right now we're just dealing with a simple operation, right? You see at the bottom the different types of operations that you can do. But if you have someone in your team that's more technology inclined, if you want to do a very specific column with different applications, you can go into functions and actually, add more specific attributes to a column here. But for now, let's stick with a simple multiplication. We're gonna create the column, and you're gonna see it here at the end on the right, the forecast rate, and then you can see the differences between the two. And let's say you want to see the sum, you want to aggregate the data. You're going to click back on column. Let's find the base lease rate. We're going to drag it and put it into values, and you already see that it's summing it up, right? You see the sum value here. Let's put the forecast rate too, right here. And then you don't necessarily need it since it's already down there, right here. There we go. So you can clearly see here that, you can see all the sum, and you can see the difference between the two numbers. So I think this is really cool, and it just shows you how easy it is to add a column and how much you can do within it, right? So that's pretty cool. And then another thing that I want to show you too is how to actually create a graph using a report or a different data. So we're going to click graph. We don't necessarily need to save or changes. It's not going to affect what we do now. You could either create a graph or a report. For now, we're going to create a graph. We're going to click from our report, and we want to use the active leases, the one that we just used. So we clicked on that, and then you can create a filter. For example, let's say you want to make a graph that's city-centric, so based on each city. So you can put a filter to filter it out by city. But for now, we don't necessarily need that. We're going to skip for now, but I just want to let you know that you could do that. And then these are all the different types of graphs that you can put. I think we're just gonna put graph for now for an example, and then these are all the different types. For now, let's create a stat column, right? We're gonna create a graph here, and this is gonna be the center of creating the said graph. So for the situation, to put it into more perspective, right? Let's say that a lot of leases wants to look at the gross rentable by city based on the lease term. So she wants to see, how much square footage she has in each city, and she wants to see how much they last, to coordinate any further future plans on each city. So let's go first. Select dimension. That will be your x-axis, which will be here. The x-axis. Let's put city. The measure, we want to see the gross rentable right here. And you can already see that it starts to formulate this data as we go along. And then set the color by which is going to be each section. We said lease term. And here it starts to formulate. You can kind of see the different data points here. And then at the end, you're going to click Save Changes. And then this is how it looks like. When you click Create or Save Changes, this is what it looks like. And this is your graph. And you have the different features that executive might have with these graphs. You could zoom in, you could reset, you can hide data. So that's a really cool feature, right? And then that's how it looks like. It's very simple, and this goes to show how simple it is to create something out of another report. If you want to create your report by yourself, it's very simple and easy to do. Here, let's go back to the slideshow. And so before we end, right, I just want to summarize that this add-on, it can fit your needs. It makes everything more configurable. You can use it more to tailor your needs on from what you need from the applications. It's a lot easier to use than the current reporting. It's a lot more visually appealing. And you saw me go through with the demo, how easy it is to create something, and I imagine it's going to be faster without listening to me. So it's very simple, very straightforward to use. With that, I thank you for this presentation, and hope you have a good one and you understand the wonders of TRIRIGA advanced reporting. Goodbye.